on ometry.
We had to do a little of it yesterday, all around, you know. Why is science spelled? I'm just kidding.
You're probably right, though.
Oh! Hey! What the fuck, dude?
I'm trying to get it where you guys can see the triangle too, but I'm not gonna be able to.
Right there, right there. It's perfect.
I just had to get it where you guys can see the triangle a little bit.
I think they would do better if we could just read it over and over again instead of writing it.
Well, that's why you write it, so you can read it over and over again, because in about 2 minutes it disappears.
Yeah, Sam. Silly boy.
Make sense?
Okay.
He's a good one. There's a lot of stuff there. You know.
Can I just write the triangle down below?
That whole box needs to be copied down.
No, I know, but
Dude, it's so fun.
Yeah, oh yeah, you can just have it wherever you want. But it is.
Can you start the fan? I just wrote up I'm so slow right now, dude. My brain can't read.
shoot.
Still, dude.
We didn't either.
You think you're funny, but you're not. I think that's pretty hard.
What are you doing, Mr.
Where are you?
I was like, using one of those. Oh, wait, did you want to start doing like the sin cross?
Yep.
Sin and cross.
Sign and
Sin and cross. Sin and cross. What would you call it? Sign and cross. True.
Why is it sometimes spelled S-I-N and sometimes there's an E?
SIN is a shortened version. So you're going to get to the point where you see cosine just spelled COS.
How is that even helpful to shorten it by one letter?
Yeah.
Because all the other ones are only 3 letters. Because on your calculator, Sam, it only has 3 letters.
Dude, they ran out of ink in the printer. They had to take out one letter.
Saving the planet one letter.
But the reason being is because cosine's only 3 letters, tangent's only 3 letters. Pay attention closely as you're writing them, how they shorten them. The sine is shortened to just what it looks like sin, even though you still call it sine. Cosine shortened to cos, but you still call it cosine. And tangent is shortened to tan, but you still call it tangent. Even though they're shortened, you still call them their original names. Even though they're shortened, you still call them sine, cosine, and tangent.
Oh, tangent.
but I think we'll probably hit angles tomorrow, so yeah, that's it. Go ahead. Maybe if you want to keep it out and copy down when I draw my triangles.
We should all start just taking pictures of this instead.
That's such a
Our different abilities. Why don't we just like print that?
Why don't you just print them out?
Off a book?
What if you just like took a picture and made a packet of all the theorems that we needed to know?
Because
like
the smartest man ever walked the face of the earth said, the way you memorize something is by reading it, writing it, saying it.
You don't know who this virus is.
I'll kill you,
Einstein.
I personally think my idea is a little smarter than that.
Yeah, but if you're smarter than the smartest man, then you don't even have to.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to give you
We
another
should all
minute
say it
right
together
quick.
when we're done.
No, bro, you're kidding.
So, right,
I like doing that though because it sounds like a cold.
I swear I just had deja vu.
You basically did.
they're very close if you haven't done
Can I just like point an arrow?
whatever you want. You just got to make sure you get it down.
Okay. They're not the same. You guys are lying.
They're like pretty close.
I think there's like 4 words different in each.
Why
Not
don't
very
we just
many.
write it one time with like all the words next to each other, like or this or this.
Or this, or this, or this.
That wouldn't help you. Okay, keep going. I know I'm not talking. Just keep going. Right quick. We got a lot to get done today.
One word difference.
Somebody didn't know they
Visualization ideas.
Just start writing the second one.
honestly just keep going and just
Just change.
This thing is all about the triangle. Everything over here relates to that triangle.
So anytime you ever have a triangle in real life you're trying to figure out the measure of, you can trust the picture because it's just like
If it's in real life, it's probably a picture that you give to yourself. But when it's in math world, rarely trust the picture.
I can't spell. I keep saying
I don't even see the word triangle anywhere in there.
Yeah, it's literally in every single one.
Yeah, just at the start.
What the heck is going on with that?
Okay, so we're gonna talk while you guys finish up writing.
I don't listen.
We'll write quicker then, so you can get done when I start talking. Okay, there's actually six. There's actually 6 different trig functions. These are called trig functions. Sine, cosine, tangent are the ones we're going to focus on today. There is 3 other ones. The other 3 are secant, cosecant, and cotangent.
Nice.
But today we're going to focus on these 3. These 3 are the main 3. Sine, cosine, and tangent. So, inside of a right triangle, there's 3 sides. And each one of the sides relates to the angle you're dealing with. So the 3 sides are either opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse. And each one of the trig functions, sine, cosine, tangent, relate to 2 of those types of sides. Remember what I said though, it depends on what angle you're looking at. If we're looking at angle A, the side opposite angle A is opposite, which means B would be adjacent, and C is always hypotenuse, right? No matter what. But if we're looking at here at angle B, now that's opposite, and that's adjacent. See how those switch? Based upon the angle you're looking at. The side opposite and the side adjacent.
What if you're looking at C?
C we never look at. Why? Do we already know what the measure of C is?
Yeah,
It's always 90, right? So this stuff we're going to learn today, this leads me into my next part, is only deals with right triangles. So C is always 90. The hypotenuse is always not C, sorry. There's always a right angle. The hypotenuse is always a hypotenuse. And opposite and adjacent. Does anyone know what adjacent means? What does adjacent mean? Next to. Next to, right? Your neighbor is adjacent to you. It's next to you. Okay? So, real quick before we go to our little videos, I want you guys to write down some more stuff inside your journal. Just a couple little pictures I'm going to draw here.
Sorry for the interruption, but would you excuse the theater students that are going on a trip today? Thank you.
Okay, here we go. Okay, if I'm writing it, I want you guys writing it too. Let's go.
What was your reaction if we always
I would have kept teaching.
Bye guys. Hey, good luck. Yeah, no waiting.
Okay, here we go. Right now we're going to look at angle A. So, sine of angle A,
Wait, Bishop Lindsay didn't say it.
cosine of angle A.
You have to write it. I draw it, you draw it.
If I draw it, you draw it.
Yeah, it's the game show, remember?
Okay. So first off, the first thing you have to recognize is that we're dealing with angle A. The letter next to the trig function is always the variable, is always the angle. So the letter next to the trig function is always the angle.
What's the trick?
So these are trig functions, sine, cosine, and tangent. So this letter or number, when we get to the point where we're starting to look at numbers, the number or the angle is always next to the trig function. The sides are always across the equal sign. So here we go. Sine of angle A. Now, if you remember back to your journal just barely, sine equals opposite over hypotenuse. So, opposite angle A is little a over the hypotenuse. So, sine of angle A is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine of angle A is adjacent over hypotenuse.
Wait, how do we not know?
So
it's A?
right now we're just looking at angle A. Cosine, if you want me to remember this, we have opposite over hypotenuse and adjacent over hypotenuse. tangent equals, so tangent of angle A, that's what this thing says. Tangent of angle A is opposite over adjacent. So tangent of angle A is opposite over adjacent. So it's opposite over adjacent. Nope. Yes. Take that back. The other three. Okay. So now we're going to talk about this. So if we happen to look at B, so sine of angle B. So now instead of looking at angle A, now we're dealing with angle B. Which side is opposite of angle B? Little b. B over C. Because it's opposite over hypotenuse. We're looking at angle B. The side opposite of angle B is over here, over hypotenuse. Cosine of angle B, A over C, little a over little c. Cosine of angle B is adjacent over hypotenuse. And tangent of angle B is opposite over adjacent. Now, there is a code word every single one of you is going to memorize when it comes to this. The code word is SOHCAHTOA. Every single one of you will memorize this word, SOHCAHTOA. Now look, it stands for sine equals opposite over hypotenuse, cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent equals opposite over adjacent.
Dude, isn't that the
Copy.
name in Moana?
Yeah, it looks
So, listen real quick again. SOHCAHTOA. Listen again.
That's definitely the way
Sine
to help
equals.
listen cars.
Hey, you guys just got 5 extra. Sine equals opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse. And tangent equals opposite over adjacent. So the code word for trigonometry is SOHCAHTOA. If you can remember that word and what each letter represents, you can do this. Remember, it all varies, this all varies based upon what variable it is you're looking at and what trig function it is, right? Because sine of B is different than sine of A. If we had a triangle like this, so let's say we have a triangle. Yeah, I would. Anything I write down, I would. Today. If we call this A, B, and C again, and this is 3, 5, and 7. Okay, so now we're going to start getting into the world of numbers when it comes to this. So if we have sine of A, what does sine of A equal? Someone raise their hand and tell me what they think sine of A equals.
That couldn't be a triangle.
Yeah.
What?
5 over 7. Perfect. Opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine of A equals 3 over 7. Adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay? So sine of A is opposite over hypotenuse. Remember, the angle right here is next to it. So sine of A equals 5 over 7. Tangent of A equals 5 over 3.
How do you know opposite? I don't get it.
So look at, where's angle A at, Tice?
Well, like,
This is a good question, so everyone listen. Because he's not the only person that's wondering this. Go. So this is angle A, right?
yeah.
Adjacent is next to it. Opposite is across from it.
But 7 is also adjacent.
No, 7's always, the hypotenuse is always the hypotenuse.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, what's the opposite for C?
We don't worry about it. C we never find. Why do we never need to find C? It's always 90, right? It's always the hypotenuse. It's always 90.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
he said that already.
So, now look, sine of B. I'm gonna call on three of you, so get your heads ready. We're gonna go through this. So, sine of B. Ethan, you get out. Trey now. Out now. Okay? So, Jackson Clark, in my triangle right here, what is sine of B? Perfect. What's cosine of B? Kate, what's cosine of B? Perfect. B's right here, opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, tangent of B, what is it, Max? Perfect. Okay, we need to look at these things right here. Sine of A, what is sine of A equal to? Now, I know it's equal to 5 over 7, but does everyone see something? Sine of this angle is cosine of B, cosine of the other angle. Sine of this angle is equal to cosine of this angle. And the tangents are opposite. Now listen, the key thing is, tangent, if you guys watch this, tangents are always reciprocals of each other. When you guys get farther along, and I'm talking into Math 3 when you learn this, you learn that tangent actually equals, don't write this, sine over cosine.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually tangent is sine over cosine. Okay? Because tangent is opposite over adjacent. Sine has opposite in it, cosine has adjacent in it, and the hypotenuse would cancel. But when you guys get farther along, you're going to learn more and more stuff about this. But this is how these things start to relate. Okay, any questions on how to identify opposite, adjacent, things like that before we watch our video? Okay, we're going to watch a couple people sing on
It's
it.
way better than side and both sides.
No, it's not.
We're going to watch a couple, and then we'll...
Side.
Okay, here we go. Jackson, shut that door.
You must have this.
And that. No one look at his teeth when it shows him.
Opposite hypotenuse sine, opposite hypotenuse sine, opposite hypotenuse cosine, adjacent hypotenuse cosine, adjacent hypotenuse cosine, adjacent hypotenuse tangent, opposite adjacent tangent, opposite adjacent tangent, opposite adjacent sides of hypotenuse, and the other two sides depend on which angle. There's one side that's the opposite. You can clearly see that there's also an adjacent side. Sine, opposite hypotenuse sine, opposite hypotenuse sine, opposite hypotenuse cosine, adjacent hypotenuse cosine, adjacent hypotenuse cosine, adjacent hypotenuse tangent, opposite adjacent tangent, opposite adjacent tangent, opposite adjacent.
Thank you, my friend. No, that's it. He just talks. Okay. No, we're gonna watch a few. I'm saving the good ones for last. I watched the one with you guys. Some of them I've seen. This one.
Yo, it's what it is. Yeah, you know what it is. Yeah, you know what it is. That's something. You see me parents do the math and use it.
Something Tyson
Or you're gonna lose.
He's not even doing the same key.
Which one you gonna choose? We're not done yet. Don't get complacent. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. Yeah.
Bro, he was.
He's spitting them.
Yeah,
He's spitting them
That's nothing.
Dynamite, dude.
That's nothing. Wow, that's the time to put it back and use it.
He's so offbeat.
Alright.
No, he's goated. I'm ready to talk.
Oh yeah, he's spitting, man. He busted
What the heck?
hard.
What's that
He
other one
busted
there?
I
hard,
haven't
dude.
I've seen these.
Yeah, that one looks good, dude.
This one?
Nope. One
Yeah,
above
that
it.
one.
This one's terrible.
Oh, it looks good.
No, the one above it.
It's terrible.
Nah,
Close to him, yeah, my
I can't remember this one.
close to my.
If I can't remember it, it probably means it's not gonna be good.
Yo, you got a custom? Can I get one?
where's the merch link?
Okay, this is awful. You don't need no introduction, guys.
Alright, no, that's that.
Duck sauce. Yes, signing the song. Do it. Do it now, dude.
Do it. Come on.
That's an education.
The duck song.
Try it.
I'm
Hey,
pretty
there's one more Sokotoa song. Is this, what is this one saying? Okay.
Shut up and dance.
So this guy sings two songs actually. Watch. This is a math teacher. He plays the guitar and sings.
showed us the I was sure of that.
We'll skip that.
No, don't.
Okay, shut up and play the song. Get
That's
it?
it. The light.
Shut up and play the song. Oh, wow.
Hey, can't hear it. Be quiet.
Shut up.
You're talking way too fast, dude. I like your quadratic formula better. Okay. The last one we're gonna watch.
It's the side angle side.
This is the one.
Nuh-uh, bro.
You got it.
Yes.
Okay, Steve, you gotta be quiet.
The most powerful man in the universe.
I don't understand it.
What?
Jump real high and I squeeze out the and I'll say, so good. So good. Sign is something over high. And I'll say, so good. So good. So is adjacent over high.
Oh no, get out of there.
Oh, the feature.
Oh my.
Why is he like
L-shaped points.
oh my treat to
Tangent.
over adjacent and I'll say so Minus sand. What is that? They're not
This is my favorite part.
Let's go! Drone hunting battle.
Alright, what do you guys' thoughts on that one?
One more
Go,
time. One more time.
I know. The voice sounded different.
Alright, so there's one more.
God clash.
I gotta find it. I can't remember what it's called, but it had two kids.
The trig grip.
Yeah, let's do the trig grip.
Some Bitmoji.
Yeah, that's
Well, I can't. Okay, so. Alright. So there's your little couple three videos. Am I? Yeah, that's alright. I wonder if it recorded that. I think it's just whatever's underneath this. So.
They probably just heard in the background.
There. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to listen. We're going to actually do a little bit more math today before I get to your homework, because we're going to cover how to be able to find certain aspects of it. Now, this is used to be able to find missing sides or missing angles. Today, we're going to spend the day being able to find missing sides. Yeah, I think I've always thought, because missing angles, we have to use a couple things. So first things first, I need everyone to take out their calculator. We have to change the setting, make sure it's changed. So everyone take out a calculator pronto.
Mine is.
Take out a calculator. All right, no more. I'm out.
Change it to degree.
Okay, everyone on their calculator. Okay, you guys just got 2 extras.
God, shut up.
Okay, you're up to 7 problems. I actually wasn't going to give you any today. So, listen. Everyone hit mode. Everyone hit the mode button. There's a line that has radians and degrees. You have to make sure that degrees is highlighted. So go make sure degrees is highlighted, push enter, and then get out of it. Yep, degrees are already highlighted.
And then just press clear.
Yep, and then just second quit.
Oh.
Okay.
I can set the date on this.
Just second quit. Okay.
Is there any way we can take some?
Okay. Before we go on, we're actually gonna. So right now we're gonna learn. Right next to this, I want more inside your journal. We're going to talk about the other 3 trig functions, and I'm only going to mention them one time because there is problems today on your homework where you will see the other 3 trig problems, the trig functions. So the 3 we know. We know sine is opposite over hypotenuse, right?
Not focused.
Close enough. Yeah. Cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent equals opposite over adjacent. Okay? The other 3 trig functions. The first is called cosecant, or it looks like this. The next one's called secant, and the next one's called cotangent. I'm just going to show you the abbreviations so that you can have them.
Will we use those?
So yes, you will see them today. Cosecant is the opposite of sine. Secant is the opposite of cosine. And cotangent is the opposite of tangent.
So yeah, what is that?
So this is written out. If you want to know how to write them, it's cosecant. This is an SEC. Yep, secant and
Wait, what's the middle one? C.
SEC. Okay, before I go to your homework, we got to learn how to use the trig functions on our calculator. All right, before we learn anything else, we got to learn where they're at, how to use them, the very basics. So, if I wanted to type in sine of 32 degrees, everyone look at your calculator, hit sine, and then just it'll bring up something that looks like this on your calculator with a parenthesis. Everyone see that?
Yeah.
And then all you're going to do is type in 32 in the parenthesis and push enter. This is on your calculator. Would you go to the nearest hundredth, Allie? What did you get?
That's definitely not what I did.
Point what?
5.3.
Okay. So everyone type it in. Yeah. Just go sine just like this over here. Okay. Type in tangent of 32.
Why 32?
I don't know. I'm just because I'm stuck on it. I'll do a bunch. Should be 0.62, right? Okay. Try cosine of 83. Okay. Now, that's how you're going to plug in when you get problems that just give you the variable, the angle. Remember, so let's go over real quick before we do our homework, just review. The angle is always next to the trig function. The angle is always, so the angle would be right here, right? It'd be right here, it'd be up here. The angle is always next to the trig function. And it's the angle you're looking at. Okay, that's very important. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, tangent's opposite over adjacent. Okay, these other three we talked about, you're going to see them on one type of problem. I don't think it's any tricky. All you got to remember is that cosecant is hypotenuse over opposite, secant's hypotenuse over adjacent, and cotangent's adjacent over hypotenuse. So they're just flipped from the one that they're across from. Tomorrow we're going to learn how to find side lengths and the angle measures using it. Today, all you're going to be doing today is learning how to plug in like this kind of stuff, and then what are called ratios. These are called the ratios. So meaning like the first thing we did today, you're going to be doing stuff like this today, where they give you an angle and you just have to plug stuff in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to get it going here.
Your video's still going, dude.